Good evening, everyone. We're back again. It's Trustcast, and welcome to our Horror Talk section.
Yay!
Good evening, Trust Talk fam. How is it going, guys? It's been way too long since we dropped a hot podcast. But guess what? We've got some fresh tea that's been blowing up on TikTok. Y'all probably know what I'm talking about, right?
I think I know this too, right?
So, you already know the special guest? Alright, let's jump right into this Trustcast. Trust us, trust me, Trustcast!
Before we dive into the story, let's get to know each other first. Okay, time is yours.
Hey Tristan folks, my name is Anggia, but you can just call me Gia. So yeah, I'm the one who's spilling the tea about my deadly terror experience while hiking up in a mountain with my partner right here. But hey, let's get to know each other first. Hey guys, I'm Cory, and yeah, like you just heard, I'm part of this super long and deadly journey. And not gonna lie, you can still totally see the trauma all over me.
Okay, let's give a shout out to these two legends who survived the deadly terrors of that mysterious mountain!
But you'll only know the facts from those TikTok vids this guy uploads. So, why not just ask Anggia and Cory directly? Let's get the full story from the start till how they made it to this podcast.
So, what's the real reason you guys are going on this hike?
So here's the thing, the two of us want to try something new, hiking a mountain. But most of the popular or fire mountains are super high, right? So we start looking for one that match our abilities. That's when we found Mountain Aram. We went there in the afternoon around 4 p.m. trying to catch the sunset. It was just me and Gia, and to be honest, we had zero clue about the mountain rules or what the place was like.
And
When we got there, we went straight to the ticket counter to register our names with the other hikers. Then the staff explained all the rules.
What are the rules anyway? Are there a lot?
Rule number 1, each team gotta have 3 people. Then rule number 2, we cannot be alone or split up. And that's it. The guard just said that and nothing else.
the rules are seriously just two. Usually there are such a bunch, right?
So yeah, when we first heard the rules, we were like totally confused and kinda shocked. We decided to ask the guard like, "Sir, seriously? There are only 2 rules?" And out of nowhere, the dude just snapped like, "Yes, there are only 2 rules. Why?" But then he just went silent for a sec, and suddenly it was like, "Oh wait, no, there's one more."
What's it?
Don't look back when if some weird voice call you. Let's just say yes, okay? We don't want to start fight just over some rules.
Oh, yeah. Just get straight to the story, okay?
But earlier you said the rule was 1 team 3 people, right? But there's just the 2 of you. How you even get in?
So here's the thing, bro. We were there with the whole group, not just the 2 of us. Then the guard split everyone into teams of 3. In total, there were 11 of us. But guess what? After all the teams were made, we were the only ones left as a duo. Then the guard noticed and was like, "Wait, you guys are just 2? Are you sure you wanna go? I mean, it's fine, but I'm not responsible for whatever happens." And we were just standing here, confused like, why does a team have to be 3 people? I mean, we were allowed to hike as a duo, but we had to take full responsibility. So why did he just stop us or say no straight up?
Oh, yeah, go on. So, what's the plan? If you guys are really gonna go for it, that means you are ready to face the consequence, right?
Haha, no surprise you're getting ghosted literally.
Next.
Alright, let's just go for it. We'll just say basmala and read Trikul. Then we'll head past the ticket booth towards the mountain area. We hadn't even gone 2 meters when suddenly we heard someone call out from behind. It was a girl's voice like, "Hey, wait up!" Of course, we turn around.
Why you not even at the mountain area yet?
Oh yes, and then
That girl ran toward us. She was tall, had a kind of brownish bob haircut, and wore this old, worn-out beige cap. She greeted us like, "Hey, you guys are missing one person, right? Can I join? I lost my group." At first, Anggia and I just stared at each other, totally confused like, should we say yes or no? But since we kinda valued our lives, we just let her join. So we started hiking together. Lucky for us, she was super friendly and easy to get along with. Over time, we just naturally became close.
Y'all didn't mention any names at all while talking. I'm curious.
So when we got to the first pause, she suddenly blurted out, asking for our names. Oh yeah, I forgot to introduce myself. By the way, my name is Wendy. What about you guys? We each told her our names. It was already getting dark, and we were pretty exhausted. So we decided to set up our tents and rest there for the night. And this is where the first conflict started. I was in the middle of organizing our stuff.
So at that time, I was setting up a tent. While I was busy assembling it, someone suddenly called me from behind. Like, Cory. The voice sounded a bit far away, but I didn't turn around because I remembered the rules. After the voice disappeared, someone suddenly tapped my shoulder. Instinctively, I turned around and asked, Gi, did you tap my shoulder? But I saw Anggia was just there, busy organizing our stuff. Then, out of nowhere, I heard someone snap their fingers from the front. I turned to look. Wait, Anggia was right there. Then who was behind me just now? Anggia looked at me and said, Cor, I've been here the whole time. Think logically, how could my hand reach behind you? At that moment, I was completely confused and got chills all over. Plus, it was right around Maghrib. But I kept quiet because earlier, I also heard a strange voice calling me.
That scares me.
Scary.
We were all confused at that moment. Then we realized that Wendy was missing. Of course, we panicked. The rule was that none of us should wander off or be alone. We had a little argument, blaming each other for not keeping an eye on Wendy. Not long after, we suddenly heard Wendy screaming from behind. Guys! We turned around and saw her running towards us. Completely out of breath, I was instantly upset because I was worried. The problem was, she left without telling us. But whatever, I didn't want to make things worse. So we just made up. Besides, fighting over something small isn't worth it.
Well, after that we set up the tent. Then we just relax for a bit, have dinner, rest and chat. Around 9:30, we finally go to sleep.
I have a really bad feeling about this. I think this is where the big conflict starts.
Same here, dude. I'm seriously getting chills. Alright, so what happens next? Does the terror start tonight?
Your guess was spot on! So, when we were sleeping, everything was fine from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. But at 3 a.m., things start getting weird. Around that time, I woke up because I heard scratching sounds from outside the tent. No, I'm the type of person who gets super cranky when I'm sleepy, right? If someone wakes me up when I'm still drowsy, I instantly get in a bad mood. So when I heard the scratching, I didn't even think. I just unzipped the tent of... And guess what? The moment I opened the tent, not even a second passed before I came face to face with this. Its face was completely messed up, like torn apart beyond recognition. But its mouth was wide open, and it suddenly let out a loud scream right in front of me. Then, that thing actually crawled into our tent. And I totally freaked out. The worst part, Cory didn't wake up at all. As the creature started creeping inside, I screamed as loud as I could. And then, out of nowhere, it just vanished, like something yanked it back. It all happened so fast. Right after the creature disappeared, Cory finally woke up.
Oh no. Oh hell no.
I was there, feeling confused and panicked at the same time because Anggia screamed so loud. Her face looked totally shocked. No, even more than shocked. She was already gasping for breath. And to make things worse, the tent was open. I quickly calmed Anggia down and told her to just go back to sleep rather than overthinking weird stuff.
What about Wendy? Is she disappearing again?
From what I saw back then, Wendy disappeared again and I have no idea where she went.
You guys are looking for her?
Or did you guys not realize?
Well, yeah, even though we're still confused about why we didn't look for Wendy, I didn't even think about her at all back then. Even Cory, who's usually super aware of everything and really cares about what's going on, didn't think about Wendy at the time. Even though she realized she wasn't in the tent.
don't you guys feel like there's something off about Wendy?
Nah, if I were you, I'd run as far as possible and never climb a mountain again.
Cool.
Hihi. By the way, is Wendy completely gone or what? Did she come back?
Her hobby is disappear, huh?
Luckily, Wendy came back in the morning. When I woke up, she was there, sleeping next to Anggia, so I didn't overthink it. I just figured Anggia probably had a nightmare last night.
Too optimistic.
After that, did you guys head straight out from first post?
Yes, after we tidied up the tent, we headed to post 2. Wendy led the way since she said she knew the
You
route.
guys still enjoy from that?
Alhamdulillah, the hike to post 2 was totally smooth, not spooky stuff at all. But honestly, I'm still a bit freaked out by the figure that showed me up to me last night.
So, during the journey to post 2, there was no terror at all. But once we got there, things started to get really weird.
Oh my god, I don't know. I can stay here for this.
So, the weird moment started when we got to post 2. We hadn't had breakfast yet. So when we saw a meatball stall there, along with some other hikers eating, we decided to check it out. We walked up to the seller and said, "Sir, 3 bowls of meatballs, please." He smiled while looking at us and then replied, "Who's eating 2 portions? Planning to do a big meal? Huh?" We just laughed it off, even though it kind of felt like a roast.
But we were also confused, sis. Why did the guy ask that? I mean, it was clear that there were 3 of us. So why was he asking again that we ordered 3 portion? Since we were super hungry and didn't want any unnecessary drama, we just ignored it. We each paid with our own money and waited at the table. Then, out of nowhere, the guy walked up to us holding our money and said, "Just keep it, miss. The meatballs are free." With a panic look on his face, after that, he just left and immediately closed the stall. We were sitting there completely baffled, like, where are we supposed to put the bowls when we're done? And why would he suddenly give us free food? The 3 of us just stared at each other in confusion, calling out to him, but he didn't respond. Then we realized he didn't give us our money back. He gave us leaves. That's when it really started to feel off, like something was seriously wrong. What was actually going on? We kept questioning each other, like, was he mad at us? Why did he give it for free? And who even handed us these leaves? We were beyond confused at that point.
Does Wendy having any yapping? Don't you guys suspect that Wendy was the one who gave the lips, making him mad?
Nah, we saw it ourselves. Wendy gave real money earlier.
But the money becomes leave.
You guys still ate the meatballs after what happened? I don't really feel comfortable with that meatball guy anymore.
We just continued eating because we had no other choice. We were hungry and needed energy, and post 3 was quite far from post 2. We didn't bring a lot of provisions either, and there definitely weren't any sellers up there.
After eating meatballs, you guys went straight to post 3.
Yeah, let's just go straight to post 3. It will definitely take some time too. We also have no idea what kind of obstacles we'll face there. Well, whatever, let's just keep going up. The 3 of us, I didn't really notice that Wendy was quieter than yesterday, but I just let it be. She's probably just tired.
Yeah. On the way to post 3, the ground was super slippery and there were lots of tall grasses and branches blocking the path. We also came across so many insects, but thankfully we managed to get through it all.
Around 5 p.m., Wendy said, "Looks like we're almost at post 3, guys. Get ready." We just went along with it since Wendy had been here before and knew that way.
Ready to do what?
Right, when we were getting close to post 3, we suddenly heard noise coming from the bushes. It sounded like something was rustling around in there. The 3 of us immediately turned to look. Then I asked, "What was that sound?"
Wendy and I immediately went closer to the bushes to check what the sound was.
While they were checking, I faced back to pay attention to the surrounding conditions to make sure we were safe. I looked around then, when I was about to approach them again, suddenly my leg was pulled hard by the person and I could fight back. I didn't even have time to scream because I was so shocked. until I saw the two of them. It was blurry, like lightning passing by.
There we immediately looked back because the wind was really strong. Then Wendy immediately rushed into the bushes without warning or saying goodbye to me first.
You just stand there alone?
Yes, Wendy really left right away, even leaving me alone. And that's one of the rules that can't be done. Wendy really left. I don't know where she went.
Now, trying looking at it from the Core's POV. While you were being pulled, where were you taken?
I was pulled there and I saw all the trees were very close together like a maze. Lots of chain spreading, dry leaves, and I was lying face down on the slippery ground. All my clothes were dirty, my knees and hands were scratched. Then I realized it and sat down while taking the flashlight from my bag to see the conditions because it was really pitch black. I tried to stand up while shining the flashlight around me. When I was shining the flashlight, there was a bed that hit my flashlight until it fell to the ground. The flashlight fell behind me. When I was about to grab it, suddenly another hand wanted to grab my flashlight too.
A hand, so you're not alone?
I swear, sis, that hand was so freaky. It was super slender, with long nails and pale, almost ghostly white skin. You could literally see the veins, and it was dirty, covered in patches of soil. But the worst part, there were these holes in the hand that made my skin crawl. I was so shocked that I instinctively tried to grab my flashlight back. The moment I got it, I pointed it toward whoever owned that hand. And bam! The face was insanely terrifying. The figure was super tall, but his face, it had holes. Like actual holes, but no bones underneath. And then, the second I shined my flashlight on its face, it screamed so loud. I screamed back just as loud, but before I could react, one thing reached out toward my head, like it was about to grab me. I completely froze for a second, and the moment I snapped out of it, I ran like crazy. I didn't even know where I was going. I got scratched all over from crashing into trees that were packed so close together. I kept running, looking back, and oh my god, it was chasing me, and it was way too close. And the worst part, it was still screaming like before. Then I saw it go straight through a tree like it wasn't even there.
Oh my god!
I stopped in front of a swamp. Its water pitch black. When I looked back, thank God, the ghost was gone. I was gasping for air, tears streaming down a little. I felt relieved, but the fear was still there. I started wondering, where am I? What is this place? My hands were trembling so badly, and my panic only grew worse. Then, as I turned back toward the swamp, suddenly countless ghosts emerged from the water, staring right at me. I screamed at the top of my lungs, and they started muttering something like a mantra, but it sounded like they were gargling. Terrified, I voted again, crying and screaming, my breathing completely out of control. My body was drenched in cold sweat. I kept reciting prayers, anything that I thought could save me. But just my luck, instead of stopping, they chased after me. And the worst part, they were calling out, Cory, wait for me. I screamed even louder. At a glance, there were only about 7 of them, but the voice in my ear sounded like at least 50 or more. My mind was in complete chaos. I started thinking, this is it. I'm going to die here. My legs slowed down. I was too weak to drain. Just as I was about to give up, something suddenly grabbed my arm from the front, way stronger than the ghost before. Panic, I looked up and it was the same creature as the first ghost. My body froze. The air was suffocating. Even though there were trees everywhere, it felt like I couldn't breathe at all. Then, out of nowhere, something forcefully struck the ghost's hand, breaking its grip on me. And just like that, my vision turned completely black. This is it. I'm done, I thought. I couldn't see anything, but I could still hear so many voices, so much noise. And then nothing. I passed out, but not die.
Then, what about Wendy? Can you come back again? How is Anggia there too?
So creepy. What's next? What about Anggia?
When Wendy left me, I was all alone and started panicking. Looking around frantically, I even thought about going back to the stall, hoping to find other hikers. Just as I was about to take a step, a huge, freezing gust of wind suddenly hit me, making me freeze in a place. My body suddenly fell backward. I felt like something had taken over my body. I could still talk and see through my own eyes, but I couldn't move at all. My mouth could form words, but it didn't actually move. It was like my body wasn't mine anymore, but I was still inside it. Then I could feel my body being literally lifted.
Oh shit.
The higher I went, the stronger the feeling got. But the weirdest part, it felt like whatever was holding me was only gripping my waist. So my head and leg just dangled down, completely limp.
Do you believe? Can you see what that figures look like?
Yeah, I feel it too, but I couldn't look down. I could only see the sky. My soul was screaming like crazy, but no sound came out. I just feel like I was being lifted. I kept thinking, how far am I gonna be taken? Then, when my body was actually lifted all the way up to the sky, suddenly I got slammed hard into the ground. I couldn't speak anymore, and my whole body was in so much pain from the fall. I remember hearing footsteps coming towards me. I saw Corey and Wendy calling out to me from a distance, but my vision was so blurry, and then everything just went back.
How did Corey and Wendy end up there again? My head is seriously full of questions marks right now.
I just passed out, and I seriously have no idea what happened there until I somehow ended up back here. When I came to, Wendy was already next to me, trying to wake me up. As soon as I was a bit more aware, she grabbed my hand and hurriedly took me away. I was super weak from everything that just happened. My body was all dirty and covered in scratch.
For real, the moment I came to, I saw Corey and Wendy looking super dirty and worn out. Corey was so weak and crazy pale, all scraped out, and they were both limping. Me and Corey immediately begged Wendy to just go home. We didn't feel safe at all here. And on top of that, there were so many creepy, totally illogical things happening.
Yes. Luckily, Wendy just said yes, because maybe she was thinking the same thing.
So before that, Wendy had never felt terror on this mountain.
That's why we already asked her, but she doesn't answer. I didn't think too much about it either because maybe she was already tired from looking for a Corey here. Alright, we just went straight down even though we were feeling super weak. Thankfully, the way down was smooth with no issues. But right when we were about to exit the area near post 1, we somehow end up at the cliff near post 3. How can?
And then?
Which was already close to the peak.
And then?
The three of us were stunned and froze, and the sky was still bright even though when we were in position 1, it was already Maghrib.
Out of nowhere, the sky started flashing like morning, night, morning, night, morning, night. All in just 3 seconds, and then suddenly it was night again. We all freaked out. I turned to Wendy and asked, what's going on? But she was just shook her head, looking around with a worried expression. Her face screamed panic. Then, just like that, the sky stopped, frozen in pitch black darkness.
Like when I suddenly got to the forest earlier, it was so dark.
Not long after, some familiar-looking guys showed up. Turned out, they were the ticket booth attendants from earlier. We got even more confused wondering how they got here. The guy said, "Oh, you are already here? That was fast, huh?" And the way he said it with a really deep voice, it was kind of creepy.
When he said that, I glanced at Wendy, and her face was already pale and blank, just staring at the guy as he talked.
Oh yeah, earlier his eyes kept glancing to the side, towards Wendy. It was really creepy. We were also wondering if Wendy knew something.
Yeah, looks like she hiding something from us.
Yeah, we're starting to get suspicious about Wendy there. It's like I can't tell anymore.
So, while we were freezing there, the guy turned around and started walking back without saying anything to us. After that, we heard some weird sounds. It sounded almost exactly like the noise from the forest earlier. It sounded like a bunch of people trying to distract our ears.
Then this group of monsters appeared from behind. The monsters were really weird and super creepy. The scariest one was the one that could attack while floating above us. While floating above us, we all just froze right there. Didn't know what to do or how to react. I was so fed up at that point, so I just asked Wendy with a firm tone, "Wendy, what the heck is going on? What is happening? What are you doing?" Wendy looked at me with her usual blank stare and just said, "I will explain once we are done." I was even more pissed off, especially since these creatures started attacking us recklessly and we had no choice but to fight back.
They don't just fight with physical strength, but with energy too. I felt like part of my energy was drained. Then we got beaten up badly. Once again, my legs were hit. Nice. At that point, I was so weak that I just gave up. I was completely drained.
I'm still trying to fight so we can be safe with Wendy.
This is the first time we see Wendy fighting with ghosts.
Oh yeah, how did I even miss seeing her body go through like that? I'm getting more suspicious. Anyway, after a while, we managed to fight off the ghost, but we were both really weak. And then suddenly, a storm hit and the ground became super slippery, like mud. Wendy came rushing over and said, "Come on, let's go down now." I know the way before it's too late, so we just followed Wendy and took the path they showed us. The journey was fine, but the real shock came when we were almost at the exit. Out of nowhere, the guard from earlier appeared, along with a giant old lady with dark black skin. Ew. She had symbols on her forehead and neck, but I have no idea what they mean.
The guard stared at us with an angry look. Then he said, "You wanna go home because you know, huh?" We all just stood there in silence. Then the guy said again, "Just give up. You're all gonna die by my hands. You won't make it out alive." I got really mad and snapped back. "What do you mean? Are you God? Did you trap us?" We were both really angry. Then suddenly there was this really strong wind, like a storm or something.
That grandma just attacked us. Wendy was the fastest when it came to fighting back. The grandma's energy was really strong. We almost lost her. Once again, Cory's leg got hurt. And by then, she couldn't walk and was completely drained. I kept helping Wendy. Thank God we managed to fight off those grandmas. But I felt like both my energy and Wendy's were completely drained. After the fight, I was collapsed next to Cory. I saw Wendy's face too. She looked really pale. Her eyes were glassy. That the man from earlier was just standing over there.
So, Wendy was kneeling in front of us and said, "You guys are going home after this, but it's okay if I'm not with you, right?"
No.
We got even more confused. We didn't want that, so I just said, "Of course not. We're going home together, all three of us."
So
But Wendy just shook her head and smiled, saying, "Go home, okay?" While holding our head and smiling like really genuinely happy. After that, she stood up and walked toward the security guard. I want to stop her, but I couldn't. It felt like something was holding me back.
Yeah, it felt like something was blocking me, and I even yelled out for Wendy, but she probably didn't hear me. Then, not long after, everything started spinning, and then boom! We ended up at the bottom and saw a lot of rescue teams, families, and body bags. We were so confused, wondering how we ended up there, but we just decided to hurry and get out because we were really traumatized. Then the rescue team yelled, "Hey, there are 2 people alive!" After that, we were saved by the rescue team. When we got to the bottom, we saw 9 body bags. We were like, whose body bags are these?
Here, we're still holding on to the hope that Wendy's safe because I kind of feel like she has come others trying. It just doesn't seem possible that a brave girl like her would give up so easily when fighting. So, we decided to ask the rescue team, "Sir, can we ask something? This is the 9 body bag. Who's in it?" The rescue team replied, Oh, this is an old body that was just found now. It's located at the top of this mountain cliff. We found some remains of this body earlier. Then they showed us an old faded hat and a photo. The photo looked kind of worn out from being in the dirt. We were all silent.
Wait, Wendy's died?
Why is the body on the cliff? Didn't you want to go down together? Come on, it's not necessarily Wendy. Maybe there's another person there. Even if it's Wendy, it's unlikely because Wendy should still be upstairs, right? She should still be up there with all the chaos going on. It just doesn't make sense to think it's Wendy at that time. Besides, that guy said it's a body from 4 years ago.
My feeling said she is Wendy.
So, here's the thing. After we were done with the evacuation, we were taken to the police station along with the belongings of other climbers. Meanwhile, the bodies of the climbers that were found were going to be autopsied first. And at the same time, our injuries were treated too.
So, all night long the police kept asking you questions?
Yes, sis, we should have rest and gone to the hospital, but instead we ended up facing the problem.
Hey, by the way, how did the autopsy on the body go? The results came out this morning, right?
It must be Wendy.
The doctor asked us, "Do you guys know this person? The one wearing the cream-colored hat and holding this photo?" We just answered, "Huh? I don't know, sir. How could we know? It's not even in shape anymore." But there was one hiker wearing a hat like that too, sir. But it's impossible if it's our friend. Maybe it's just a coincidence that the hats are the same. Then the officer said, "Coincidentally, we found some similarities between this body on the photo of the missing person who's been on the search list for the past 4 years." And then he showed us the photo. You know, when we saw the photo, we all screamed at that time. Like, Wendy?
Okay.
It's impossible, sir. We just came down from the mountain together. We even climbed together. And besides, this body's been here for 4 years, right? It doesn't make sense, sir. The guy asked again. But does the face look the same as the one you know? The structure of the face? The hair? The eyes, mouth, nose, all the same?
We just went completely silent, like really silent. But, sir, is it really possible for a body that's only been dead for a day to turn into a skeleton like this?
Well, we were told to go home and rest for now, then come back tomorrow. So the plan is that the police and forensic experts are going to confirm things with the family.
Is she really Wendy?
I can't believe if that's really Wendy's body. So, who are you guys going up to the mountain with?
The thing is, it's here. After confirming with the family the next day, we went to the police station. The people who said they were Wendy's family told us that it really was Wendy, who had been missing for a long time.
How her family know it's her?
Yeah, because the DNA from Wendy's body matched with her family's. Also, the worn out cream colored hat they found, it looked exactly like the one in the photo her family took before Wendy went up the mountain. Turned out it was actually her first time hiking the mountain.
Shall I scare or sad? That's just normal though.
Wait, okay?
Does that mean she has gone chills?
So, for those 2 months, we tried to figure out the truth about those Wendy's and the story behind the mountain.
Feels like we're just getting into the story now. It feels like we've been talking about this forever.
Turns out, sis, we were actually accompanied by ghosts the whole time we hiked up and down the mountain, meaning we were climbing just the two of us.
How come you guys can see Wendy?
We don't get it either. Maybe their third eye just opened out of nowhere. You know, actually, all those hikers are probably being accompanied by a ghost kinda like Wendy.
Turns out, Wendy's dead because quite a stir 4 years ago, because the mountain had only just opened at the beginning of 2021. It's like one of those mountains that just opened but already has casualties. Plus, there are only 3 posts, so it's hard to believe someone could die just because of exhaustion. And the temperature, based on our experience, was not that cold. So I guess maybe it could be because she was a beginner or something, but still it doesn't make sense.
So actually, what happened to Wendy's death? Is it really because of tiredness?
Do you know why? Turned out Wendy died because she was a victim of the black magic from that guy, the one who was guarding earlier. Remember him?
Well, that's he doing trying to get rich, took a ritual in the mountain.
How did you know?
So you know, we all heard the story from Wendy.
Wendy, but she already dead. How can Wendy tell the story?
After we get back from Wendy's grave, we're going to stop by Cory's place to get some work done.
When we were all pumped up, suddenly we heard someone greet us from the front with a "Hey." I turned around and Anggia did too. We froze, totally confused, because what we saw was Wendy, bro. She showed up still wearing the same outfit from when we went hiking together. But her face was glowing and super pretty. Her smile was so bright, like she had no worries at all.
What did she do to come to you?
She didn't do anything. She just smiled and said thank you. But it was a bit scary when she walked toward us.
Hey, what's happened to you?
No, she didn't do anything to us. Actually, she's here to tell the truth behind all this. She shared this with me. You know the guard from earlier? Well, he used to be a successful businessman from 2016 until he went bankrupt at the end of 220. The bankruptcy wasn't because of COVID or anything like that, but because one of his friends got jealous and managed to bring down his business. During December 2020, when he should have been celebrating Christmas, he was just stuck at home with his stuff all seized by the bank. He was about to give up, but then suddenly revenge crossed his mind against that friend. So he apparently went to see a shaman to help with his finance and get back at that friend. The shaman suggests he do some kind of black magic ritual. It was supposed to take place in the mountains, and that's why he's working as a ticket booth guard. But sis, there is a misunderstanding here. The ritual was supposed to target the guard's friend, but it ended up affecting Wendy instead. Because the guard's friend is actually Wendy's friend too. From the moment Wendy set foot on the mountain, she had this bad feeling, but she didn't want to judge. After all, it was her first time hiking. Turned out, Wendy's gut feeling was right. She was terrorized the whole time she was there. Almost exactly like how we are. Wendy died because of the terror at post 3.
Sorry, but may I know the reason for Wendy's death?
But this is quite tragic. Is it okay if we tell it?
It's okay, it's okay.
So, before Wendy passed away, she actually took a sunset photo at that cliff using her Instax camera, the one that prints out Polaroids. After that photo, out of nowhere, with no wind or anything, someone yanked her head really hard from behind. Her head fell off because of it. When Wendy tried to fight back and pick up her head fell off because of it. When Wendy tried to fight back and pick up her hat, someone grabbed her hair and pulled it. It was so painful, like a really hard hair pull. She couldn't fight back at all, and the pain was so intense that her scalp and skull actually got torn. After that, she suddenly found herself in this forbidden ritual place. She was tortured there, completely helpless. She couldn't ask for help because she felt like she was not even in the mountain area anymore. The scariest part was that when she was being tortured, Wendy was not fully dead yet. So she could still feel the pain. I'm sorry, but they even pulled out and removed her brain. That was the last thing she felt, and it was the worst pain ever. Maybe the shaman forgot or something, but her spirit was set free and was not controlled by him anymore. Realizing she was free, Wendy quickly ran away from that place. When she got back to the cliff, she saw her sunset photo, her camera, her hat, and blood stains. She completely broke down and cried hysterically, all alone. She just wanted to have fun hiking. but it ended in such a tragic way. And it turns out that sunset photo was a message for her little brother back home, who's only 10 years old. He must been waiting for Wendy to come back. Wendy loved her little brother so much, and he loved her too.
Mystical ritual?
Yeah, at that mountain peak, there's a place for mystical rituals. That's why when we were about to go down to the mountain, we suddenly ended up back at the top, right? It's because we were being controlled by the shaman and the guy at the ticket booth.
What about the guard?
She's already dead after the last fight. So when Wendy told us to go home, she attacked the guard and the shaman alone because she knew that fighting the shaman and the guard was not just about physical strength. We needed a ton of energy. By the time, we were already really weak. So Wendy told us to go home. Anyway, Wendy managed to beat both of them, but her energy was not enough. Or you could say she was completely drained, so that's where it ended for her.
So you could say that the energy I had left was the most, and my injuries weren't as bad as Cory's. Now, when they actually drained some of my energy to help her while she was fighting the two of them, and turned out it was enough. Yeah, that's how it ended.
I'm seriously getting goosebumps. Hey, no one from the Trustcast crew was visited by Wendy while watching this, right?
Honestly, the plot twists are just crazy. There's so many of them. How did they find the guard's body?
Yeah, I met him, but the condition was really bad. He passed away yesterday, and the next day his body was found already turned into a skeleton. What's strange is that there was quite a bit of blood flowing from the skeleton. No one knows where it came from.
Until now, the body of the victims from the previous ritual hasn't been found, and the ritual room is still missing. But we're still really eager to try and find the ritual room.
Alright, Wendy can help you guys because her spirit is free. So where did the other victim spirits go?
Earlier, Cory was telling me about what happened when she was dragged into that dark forest with all these creatures. Well, those are the spirits of victims controlled by the shaman. If Wendy hadn't escaped, she would have ended up in that ghost world too. That's why I said that the other team members are being followed by ghosts, just like Wendy. Actually, they are being watched by ghosts who plan to make them the next victims. The ghosts keeping an eye on them are evil, and they all try to manipulate or guide them into danger so they die. It's different with Wendy though, because she's free, she's trying to help us in any way she can to keep us safe. Wendy knows what it feels like to suffer, and she doesn't want there to be any more victims.
So if they are accompanied by a ghost, does that mean the ghost must be dead too? Since there are 9 body bags, right?
Not like that. The other 8 people are real humans. They are being manipulated by the ghost, but they can't see it. So it's like the ghost is making them think they are going down the wrong path to get them killed.
I got it.
Then the guard let Wendy stay with us because he thought she would help us die. Before that, the guard thought it would be easier for us to not survive if it was just the 2 of us.
So the guard doesn't know that Wendy's soul has been caught, right?
Yes, sis. The security guy just noticed that Wendy's spirit was free at post 2. When I was being hunted in the forest, I think the shaman told the guard about a strong entity that could fight off the evil spirits there. And that entity was Wendy.
I feel bad for her.
Sorry, can I talk about another plot twist?
Hey, it's all good. I'm still super curious too.
So, do you still remember about the rules?
Yeah.
It turned out there's one rule that's actually a trap, and it's set by the old man who's guarding the place. The rule is don't look back if you hear a strange voice calling. But actually, that strange voice is Wendy's spirit trying to save us. It's that free spirit, like Wendy. Remember when Cory didn't look back when the strange voice called, and then suddenly someone taped Cory? That was actually Wendy tapping her to get her to look back. So the one calling us was actually trying to warn us to get off the mountain because it's dangerous. That's why the old man set the rule, so you wouldn't listen to the spirits. And about the time when I saw things in the tent, Wendy was gone, right? Well, Wendy moved into the spirit world.
Wait, does that mean the guard made those rules because they knew a ghost would call you guys, or what?
Yeah, before this, there was a hiker who also got called by that strange voice. He turned around, and the ghost told him to go down immediately so he would become a sacrifice for the ritual. But unfortunately, he got caught while trying to leave, and he was killed by the guards and the shamans. Thus, the guard made that rule to make sure it never happens again.
Oh,
Sorry,
scary.
what did you mean by the world of evil spirits?
When they said there are three worlds, our world, the spirit world, and the last one, the world of the guardians and shamans. The scariest one is the guardians and shamans world. Even when they end up there, because fighting them and escaping that world is really tough.
Oh, I see.
So, Wendy moved to the spirit world to save us from the terror of the mysterious creature that almost got into our tent yesterday. Remember when the ghost suddenly disappeared? Like it was pulled backward. That was Wendy dragging it into the ghost world to defeat it. So actually, there was a reason behind Wendy disappearing. Honestly, when Wendy explained why she did all that, I cried because I kept thinking, Wendy, after everything, you've been treated so badly, but you're still so kind.
Yeah, she deserves better.
Can I cry now?
Oh yeah, there's still more. So before this, Wendy had already tried to help someone else, but it didn't work.
Why?
Before this, Wendy kept trying to help other climbers who were short on people, just like us. But unfortunately, they didn't trust her. I mean, she's a stranger, so it's not like they believed her that easily. That's why no one made it out leave.
Huh? So you're the first people Wendy helped, right?
Yes, that's why she's doing her best to help both of us.
Luckily, you guys want to be with her.
How many minutes has our horror cast been going on?
That's all.
Wow, this is crazy. You guys are so cool to be able to survive that mountain.
Oh yeah, one last thing. Here's the photo Wendy gave us. There's also a short message on the back.
I'm gonna cry.
Wendy sent this photo as a replacement since we couldn't enjoy our first hike. She knows we climbed the mountains to see the sunset, so she gave us this picture.
So, Tristan fam, that's the story from Anggi and Cody. There are actually a lot of lessons we can learn from their journey. I was really touched by their story.
I can't imagine what would happen if Wendy wasn't there and her soul was free. What will Cory and Anggi's fate be now?
I can imagine what my body will look like later. What was that? What was that?
The face is broken.
Someone is coming.
Wow! Don't be silly! Don't be silly! I'm not joking.
Wendy's here, guys. No worries. She's really nice. She just wants to say hi.
But Wendy also wants to chat with the people of Trustown. Is that okay?
So Wendy come to here, but
Yes, but just for a bit. She said she just want to say thank you. She did not take much of Anggia's energy, really. She's actually been here the whole time, watching us.
Hello? Can you hear my voice? Hello?
Yes, we can hear your voice.
What is that?
Hello, Thurston fam. Don't be afraid. I'm just dropping by.
hey Wendy. Wendy, can say hello to Truston fam.
Hey, Thurston fam. I'm Wendy, and I'm part of Anggia and Cory's journey. Hey, nice to meet you all. Don't be scared of me, okay?
Wendy, thank you so much for everything you did to save them.
Yes, sis. I also did this because I don't want there to be any more victims.
Wendy.
Well, alright then. I just want to say hi to you guys. I hope the story helps you to be more careful when doing something, especially if it's your first time. Hopefully, this kind of thing won't happen again because I won't be up on that mountain anymore. Who's going to help if not me, right? Let's hope no other mountains are like that. Anyway, take care, everyone. I probably won't appear in front of you guys again. I'm at peace now. Thanks for believing in me, Anggia, Cory. After this, your inner sight will be closed. So, once again, thank you. I love you guys.
like we're wrapping up this podcast with some tips, guys. Thanks for watching. We hope you can take something good from today's story.
We will end this podcast.
Trust us, trust me.